Hey folks, it's Moxley here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. You join us today for an actual AEW video. Yep, we're here with Halloween Horror Show as we look to really cement our status on the road to Full Gear. So it'll be this one, we'll have our Impact Wrestling turning point and then we'll be straight back in AEW action with Full Gear. So really looking forward to this one. A lot of stories have been built up over the course of the last few weeks, ever since we had Grand Slam and the Dynamite anniversary, and yeah, there's stuff here that will build towards Full Gear and kind of put a wee bit of that card in motion straight off the bat. So as always, we'll have our boosts. We'll always aim for a 100 rated main event. Whether we get it or not remains to be seen. I think this is only the second Halloween Horror Show. Yep, so we debuted it last year, which truthfully doesn't seem like that long ago in game, but I booked it. And our main event was a 6-man tag. It was of course Adam Cole and the Young Bucks tackling that evil faction of MJF, Richard Holiday and Sammy Guevara. The change of the status since then is Adam Cole is now turned heel and on a different brand from the Young Bucks. MJF and Sammy are both kind of split, but they are both on Rampage, and Richard Holiday has been one of the people that's been moved to Impact Wrestling alongside his partner in game and his manager Brandy. Is it Brandy Long? I think that's what she's called. I believe that's her name. If it's not, I butchered it. The other matches there, you can see there we had Wardlow defeat Killer Cross. We had some words there from Windy. What I find interesting there is we had that thing with Jericho, Daria, Varnado and Foley. So I'm wondering if that was me at that time hinting for the brand split. That sounds about right. CM Punk was able to wrestle. He took on Kenny Omega. Of course, Kenny's CM Punk's done completely, so is John Cena. He's gone, he's also done. You can see there Pac against Strickland and Black against Andrade El Idolo. Some good matches in there that I'm certainly happy with. But of course, you always go for the next year and you always try to beat it. So, without further ado, this is going to be a challenge to beat a 94 rated show last year, but we'll see what happens. This is the Halloween Horror Show. So we start off straight into action, just short of 60,000, so we don't beat last year's attendance by losing out by 396 people at CenturyLink Field. So over the course of the tapings, of course we do title matches etc. on normal television, and we had a title change. One of those was Hiromu Takahashi, who joined, winning the 0X Championship from Buddy Matthews, and he's had some title defences against Chris Bay. He's faced Matthews again in a rematch, and now he is going to defend the belt against both. Here we had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as Takahashi defeats both Matthews and Bay in 13:55 when Takahashi pinned Buddy Matthews with a fisherman suplex. Third defence of the belt, Buddy was the weak link here with only a 68, overall a 76 for your opening contest. This led to Prince Devitt coming out and obviously aligned with Chris Bay within the AEW's Bullet Club, and he says, Takahashi, it's good to see that you've made it across to America and you've taken a championship. Now we all know you came through the junior heavyweight division in New Japan. I was a linchpin of that division. I was the man that really started putting that on the map. So if we're trying to do that here in America, then I can't think of a better match for Full Gear than Takahashi Prince Devitt for the 0X Championship. So that will take place at Full Gear, and that is a 79 rated promo from Prince Devitt. We then moved on to a matchup for the Queen of AEW Championship. Of course, that's Carnage's Women's Championship, and it was about to have good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as Yuka Sakazaki defeated Chelsea Green in 13:03 with a magical girl kick, and this was her second defence of that championship. A 78 and 84 from Yuka. She's really kicking in. But there was a few reasons for this one. Of course, Chelsea's at Impact. She's Knockouts champion. She's the mixed tag team champion with Matt Cardona here in AEW, and I felt like we can play up the angle that she's going to have 3 belts, and also we need to raise the prestige of that Queen of AEW title. It's literally like 20. I just wanted to take an older championship and build its prestige, so if we can do that as well, I'll be happy. So you might see a lot of these matches on AEW pay-per-views just to get the prestige up, but still, they delivered. Moving along, more women's action. And with the rematch for the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships, actually not as good as I thought it would be. As with a good matchup here, as Britt and Anna Jay defeated Kana and Takuma Aroha in 14-17 in the rematch, when Anna Jay pinned Kana with a scissors kick. This was their first defence of the AEW Women's World title, so their tag titles. So 76 overall. Anna and Britt are like, Anna's touching 80 in overness. I'm actually tempted to maybe put her in some segments be like the top guys to see if we can get her to break into like the 85s and find out what pop cap really is. But their performances are not matching that overness, and vice versa. Kana and Takumi are probably like maybe high 60s, low 70s over, but the performances always bring it. So I know they can carry a good matchup. Takuma Aroha, I don't know a lot about her, if anything, in real life, but she's been a star in this save, an absolute star. And she'll help elevate. Her and Arisa Nakajima have done more in this game than I can ever imagine. So, good title defence though for Britt and Anna. And we'll try and move on to something new for Full Gear. Next up, we had our usual segment with Dwayne Johnson and the New Gen Veronica, which was a 73. She's going to get to the stage because she's had promos with Dwayne in every show of Carnage, and she's won every match. I think she's like 5-1, but the one was in the Independent, so under the AEW banner she's 5-0. So she's mid 40 overness. She doesn't have a technical, I think her highest attribute in the main stats is like 20. Her psychology is 89. I just want to see how quickly we can get her to develop on the main roster, rather than putting her through developmental, just throwing her in and seeing if she can learn in the job, basically. But Dwayne has certainly been putting her over, and of course getting him overness as well, because obviously that toxic scandal harmed his overness, but he does have like 100 in all the speaking attributes. Next up, we had a little matchup here. It saw a superb matchup. It saw Miro defeat Jungle Boy in 12-20 with the Bullplex, 84. Miro's been getting really pissed off that he's not been utilised to his full capabilities. Oh my god, how ironic. So here he takes the win over Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy's going to be one of the people we're featuring on Impact. I've loaned him out, so he'll be at Turning Point. But it's interesting here, Jungle Boy's pop capped, yet he can produce a performance in 85. So maybe I should be, even though he's got his limitations, really be giving him an opportunity. Or maybe just really clicked with Miro. There's always that possibility as well. That's not what we like to see. So these six had a match on Dynamite that was like spectacular and was in the low 90s. It was like a 92. So I thought I'll run it back on pay-per-view, but seems here it's superb wrestling, great heat. Cole, Jay White, Will Ospreay defeat Darby Allin, Kenny Omega and Hangman in 1732 with Jay White pinned Kenny Omega with a Blade Runner. So in 82, all performances are pretty good there apart from Hangman. That's obviously going to take a penalty for Kenny being off his game and the bruised pectoral muscle, but it was really to help us work towards Jay White, Kenny Omega for Full Gear. Hopefully that injury to Kenny's not too bad. I think it'll just be one of those ones he can wrestle through it. But yeah, a few negatives there, which is a shame. What is this with bruised pectoral muscles? Next up, we had a superb matchup that saw Wardlow defeat Bryan Danielson in 12:48 with a Splash Mountain Powerbomb. Wardlow made defence number 13 of the TNT Championship. So this one was a 75, obviously that's been hampered by the injury. So this one, obviously Bryan only works events, but he basically confronted Wardlow on Rampage and saying that he believes, even though he's only wrestling in events, he still wants to become a TNT champion. He's never won a belt in AEW, and he's going to beat Wardlow and become TNT champion. Unfortunately, not to be the case, takes the injury, and that match gets a 75, but still something good for the championship. I know it does have, hopefully, a gain of prestige there, but Wardlow remains on this dominant run as champion. He is, however, confronted by, of course, the protege of Bryan Danielson, and that is Daniel Garcia. And Garcia says, "You faced my mentor, you beat my mentor, but it's time for me to step up. I'm challenging you for the TNT Championship at Full Gear." So there we go, straight in another matchup is it made. Wardlow accepts because he thinks he's just beat his mentor. He can beat Daniel Garcia as well. And yeah, a 70 rated segment there. Next up with a match with superb wrestling and good heat is El Hijo del Vikingo defeated Andrade in 14:32 with a 6:30 senton. Andrade was a bit reluctant to put him over, but I wanted him to gain that bit over this. He's still kind of like high 60s, low 70s. Andrade's been kind of putting people over, really, truthfully, should be pushing him higher. He has got every attribute I need to be a top guy. Maybe just doesn't break through in terms of psychology, but he's always going to carry a matchup. And 84 between these two and a steal the show match. He'll take a little hit in terms of his morale because he didn't want the job, but maybe with these two weren't inconsistent, they would have a really good matchup. But still, 84, nothing too shabby. We then are promoting one of our Carnage tag teams, and that is Paul Heyman, who had been managing Hook, has obviously recruited Hook to go over to Carnage, and he's also taken over Claudio. He says, I know we never really clicked on the last time, but Taz was able to confirm that the good stuff he's been doing with Hook, and he believes that Claudio can not only benefit himself, he can develop a lot of people on Carnage, and he can also help the development of Hook. Claudio accepts. He says he's learned great things with the Danielson Fight Dojo, believes now it's time for him to branch away from that. Bryan's busy with Daniel Garcia, and obviously training the tutelage of Serena, Diona, and Layla Hirsch. So look out for more of that on Carnage. We then had a fatal 4-way match, the winners becoming the #1 contenders for the Tag Team Championships at Full Gear. Darius Martin's back from injury, so Top Flight are getting fired straight back in. And this one had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as the Young Bucks defeat Top Flight, the Grizzled Young Veterans, in FTR in 14:17 when Matt Jackson pinned James Drake with the Meltzer driver. So he's pretty good. As I say, we're still looking to get Darius over. It's going to take a good bit of time. We're also in a position where there's two flippy teams and two very technical teams, which is fair enough. There might be a confliction of styles. I always feel bad for FTR. It's like if I've not got them as champions, I just seem to book them shite. So hopefully I get something for them. We need to look at Dax Harwood's character, but the CM Punk decline has not helped them either, because Punk's pretty much been useless. Now we then have a few words from the Kings of the Black Throne. They've been in phenomenal run for them. Malachi's off a fantastic match with Johnny Gargano that was on Rampage at 87, and they just say, cool, we've beat you before, we'll beat you again. You might have all these flips and tricks, but we have brute power and strikes. So 74 hype there. Next up was the matchup for the Shine Championship, and this one's been really going ahead the last couple of Rampages, where Dakota's just been complete mind games with Elena Black. But here we had a decent matchup that saw Elena defeat Dakota in 10:51 with a double underhook DDT for defence of the Shine Championship, a 74 overall. Dakota unfortunately off her game, but she's a great hand to have. As I say, I'm a massive fan of Dakota Kai IRL, so yeah, really hoping that maybe one day she'll become a champion. I actually enjoy really both these ladies' work, they're absolutely stellar. Then we had our 100 segment. Of course I was going to get one at one point, and MJF comes out and he just says since he's lost the championship, he's been all over the place and he feels like the company just don't know how to use him, which has been kind of true in this save. But he just says it's time for him to take over this place and make sure he gets himself in the right positions to just basically take what's his. He's interrupted by Tyler Black and he just says it's amazing listening to you, Max, how I can just really relate to what I was like when I was trying to align myself with authority, take shortcuts and just be a dastardly prick basically. And he says he's learned from that. He says he's a father and a husband now, and he says he's been basically mellowed out, and he just wants to, he sees a lot of younger stuff in MJF and he just wants to make sure the history doesn't repeat itself. So 100 segment there, building towards Tyler Black at MJF at Full Gear. We then had a triple threat match for the AEW Evolve Championship, or Carnage Championship, and it was a superb matchup that saw absolute Ricky Starks defeat Cody Rhodes, Ethan Page in 13:28, when Ricky Starks pinned Cody Rhodes with a Buster Keaton, just trying to let Cody put as many people over as possible, because I think that's what Cody would have done if he was still with AEW. He'd still be putting over, I think he'd be putting over Ethan Page, and especially Ricky Starks. He obviously really pally with him. A 79, no psychology in here, which is a shame, but obviously Cody's got the star power and the ring presence, and he's going to be one of the guys. He's leading the Carnage brand because I think that's what I wanted to do, and he's going to be going to Turning Point to wrestle someone there. to basically continue to help the development of the future of the AEW, like he would have done with the Nightmare Factory as well. And that's just confirming that. We've done a wee angle where it was just announcers went, oh, Cody Rhodes has just lost, but you can see Cody Rhodes at Turning Point 68. We then had a matchup for the AEW Women's World Championship, and someone we've recently recruited was Konami. She's had victories on Rampage, but we've not drafted her, so she's had victories on Carnage as well, just really building her up. Now, she doesn't have great overness, so that's promising. She's still only about maybe low 50s to low to high 50s in overness, so once she gets fully over, then this 84 performance I think can only get better. So fantastic work, good matchup. Because of the win record, she gets the opportunity, and she loses in 13-23 by submission with a bank statement. So Mercedes gets the 6th defence of the World Championship. We get an 84, and we'll certainly only be the first time we see Konami, and we'll see a lot of her in the future. It's great to have brought in a lot of people from Japan. It's great we've given a lot of opportunities to AEW talents. As I say, Brits had opportunities, Anna Jay. As much as it doesn't seem like it, Riho has had chances, she just never really is over as I'd like. But backstage, Mercedes bumps into Becky, they're sitting talking. They bump into Charlotte, they bump into Bayley Rose, and it's just a heated argument. But basically here, we are going 4 horsewomen at the main event, at the Full Gear event for the Women's Championship. Mercedes v Becky v Charlotte v Bayley. 85. Also on Carnage, I book a lot of bullshit. Comedy stuff that I find funny. So Danhausen has been in a feud with Logan Paul. Logan Paul, I thought, you know what? He's in the mod. His overness was okay. His stats aren't great apart from speaking, which is fair enough. I feel like obviously this is way before this mod, before he was wrestling. But obviously it seems like he's okay and very, very capable. I felt like we'll put him in Carnage. We'll try and develop him technically. Obviously he's over. That's why I was with Kazarian to start with. And then I thought we'll put him in some comedy stuff with Danhausen, because maybe we can get Danhausen over. So Danhausen just continues to mock him, and he says he's going to curse Logan Paul. And that was a 66. And their matchup, decent. Logan Paul defeats Danhausen in 6:26. He makes him submit. Storytelling matchup as you would expect. 63 segment. For what it was, for a comedy spot, I'm like, do you know what? I'll take it. Because now it's time, I believe, for your main event, which draws a 90. And I think that could have been better, with a 93 or 95 there. But it was an exceptional matchup that saw Jon Moxley defeat Walter in 33-18 by disqualification, meaning Jon Moxley makes the 5th defence of the world title. These two bring a stellar 90 rated matchup, and no negatives, which I was intrigued at. I thought maybe they made it last too long, but overall, some promising stuff. And we end the show. First Walter's been disqualified, and now he is beating Jon Moxley up down the stage, down the aisle, and then he decides to powerbomb Moxley off the stage, through the table, and into a bunch of equipment. Walter just looks very intimidating on the top of the ramp. Jon Moxley is stretchered out with a neck brace on, gives that wee signal to the crowd that he's alright, but you can tell he's not alright, and it finishes with an 81 rated segment. The full plan at Full Gear is to go Moxley versus Walter. I hope they haven't faced 3 times already. That may be an issue. If it is, someone will get inserted in and make it triple threat. But the plan at the moment is Jon Moxley, Walter, main event inside a steel cage. So then there's no power bombing through whatever. So a lot of that show built up a lot of stuff, and it gave us a 98 rated show, increasing their popularity in 56. Now I've got to be honest, a lot of that is MJFE, Tyler Black, but a lot of that, as I say, is the stellar matchup there between Moxley and Walter. If it could have been better, it could have been, as I say, maybe even a 93 rated match that maybe got us a 100. But really happy with that one. It builds up so much for Full Gear. Like, you could even say to an extent it's a B event, even though it is like still all the big star power, etc. But really happy with that one. I feel it puts us in a good footing for Full Gear. So we'll call it there. I say thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you felt like was your favourite match. What do you think's been a good idea? What do you think's been a bad idea? And I say we'll have Turning Point next week, and after that we'll be at Full Gear. So remember, check out the Fantasy Booker subreddit and the Great Software forums. I'll see you all next time. Cheery bye.